Good afternoon, I hope everyone's well today. Thank you for watching. There's been some interesting developments up in Runcorn and Halsby that I thought I'd share. We've had the local council, which is Halton Borough Council, and the local constabulary gaslighting the residents of Halton, specifically Runcorn, about the impact that these boat people, these dinghy divers, these asylum seekers are having on the local community. We've had our MP, Sarah Pochen, Reform UK, come out and make some statements on Talk TV, GB News, about the impact of the residents and what these houses of multiple occupancy, HMOs, are having in the local area. I'm going to play this clip first of all. This is from a few weeks ago, and then we'll look at what the press is saying and why they've turned on her.
Things that my residents have had to put up with and suffer.
Well, tell us.
Well, I've seen CCTV, so I have literally seen the evidence, as has the police, of people coming and going in the night, men coming and going at night in houses of residential areas, drug dealing, knives being carried, taxis with young women being dropped off at night, picked up in the morning. I've had so many stories of parents concerned because their children have been stopped, spoken to, young girls been spoken to, would they like to earn some money? It's absolutely horrific. On the doorstep, one couple, about my age, not a young couple, they wanted desperately to speak to me. They wanted me to go in, which obviously we don't do when we're canvassing, but they were frightened to tell me about their experiences of the house next door because it was full of these asylum seekers. They are terrorising the community in Runcorn, and people will accuse me of, over-egging this and being dramatic.
Oh no, they'll accuse you of racism. They'll say you're bigoted, xenophobic, racist. Yeah. That's what
they're in denial of what's happening. And once these asylum seekers go into these private landlord accommodation, they are lost to the authorities.
So that's one of the clips that I've managed to find on my MP, and what she's saying is completely correct from my understanding on the ground. So regardless of what the press tries to say, and the local police and the local council, which is Labour Council by the way, Halton Borough Council is currently Labour, no doubt it will fall to Reform UK in the election which is in 2026. But I'll read you a bit of this article now. The leader of Halton Council, Councillor Mike Walson, said it's unfortunate that the local authority to date has never been approached for information by Mrs Pochen. He continued, our communities deserve factual information. We are here to provide it to them. Halton Borough Council is willing to provide factual information to Mrs Pochen in order to assist her in her duties to advocate and assist for constituents in Runcorn. Despite these comments, Miss Pochen has spoken with constituents and raised concerns about the HMOs, as well as reporting this to Cheshire Police. Okay, that's the first part. Then the police have come out, and they've actually come out and give a bit of a lengthy response. Dan Price, Cheshire Police Crime Commissioner, also claims he's never been approached by Mrs Pochen. Well, it's not necessary at this point, is it? He says, I don't recognise the picture that Sarah Pochen tries to paint of Runcorn. It's not based in reality. No, it's not based on the reality that you want to portray. There is a difference. Let's be careful with your language. You don't know who you might mislead. On several occasions, Mrs Pochen has stated to have seen CCTV evidence providing evidence of criminal activity. To date, no reports of this evidence have been provided to Cheshire Police or my office by Mrs Pochen, despite the MP having had several opportunities to do so. Alright, so what they're actually saying is that she's not provided the CCTV footage. She says it's already been provided to the police by the people that have made the accusation. See what they do there? That's how they try to deflect and they try to change the narrative. The group also said that Mrs Pochen claimed to have seen a rise in the number of people seeking asylum or moving into their social housing. As a result, it's putting pressure on local services. It's true. That is factually accurate. Mrs Pochen also claimed this happened after the decision to close the hotel, and they have been housed on the outskirts of Runcorn. The group says that this is not correct. Mrs Pochen told ECHO. One of the clearest messages from Runcorn and Halsby is how fed up residents are being ignored and they are being silenced for speaking the truth. Completely agree with all of that, actually. Now, the situation, what you need to remember is that there's a lag. So the local council can say there's been no increase in the asylum seekers. There's been a definite increase in the past few years. So the local council can say there's been no increase, but the allocation's already been allocated, so there has been an increase. So what they're saying is there's no more. So again, Sarah's completely correct, and the police and the local authorities seem to be mistaken, or they seem to be playing a bit of whataboutery. That's what I would say. There was an incident earlier on today that's been posted online on social media of a councillor down in Portsmouth. He was approached by the police and actually told not to divulge information of a boat person, an asylum seeker, committing serious sexual acts of violence on a local person, a British person. Alright? I'm going to play this clip now.
But there's two issues here. One, this is a reason why public don't trust politicians and don't trust public bodies. The moment this happened, they should have been honest with people, honest with residents, and told them the truth about what happened and what's going on in the city of Portsmouth. Not trying to encourage people to hide it and not speak about it. You'll remember that I put a status up a couple of days ago that said I was really frustrated because you get information and people like me aren't allowed to share that information. I was put under a lot of pressure. I was even messaged by a senior officer at midnight saying, do not reveal this information, blah, and basically telling me off or even suggesting that I was going to tell people. And that's wrong. It's almost a cover-up, And you understand why people are annoyed. And secondly, what's frustrating is that in this city, we have National Party politicians that have held up plaques only several months ago saying refugees are welcome here. And they've been chanting on the steps, no hate, no fear, refugees are welcome here. And they've been signing councillor sanctuary pledges which encourages more of this. I'm lost for words. But I really hope those politicians that have been standing on those steps with refugees are welcome here signs really take a second look in the mirror and think about the consequences of what they're suggesting.
What I think happens is that crimes are reported to the police. You get crime references. I was attacked a few years ago. I got a crime reference. Nothing ever happened. I think it's 95 to 98% of burglaries don't even go attended by the police. So the police can turn around and say, well, we don't recognise the picture that they're painting. Well, what actual work are they doing? That would be my guess. The councillor down in Portsmouth was actually warned off sharing publicly available information because of fears of alarming communities and raising community tensions. So the cabal, the in-group, close ranks on each other and they actually attack the outsider, which is what they're doing with my Reform MP. My honest opinion with these HMOs is when they reach a fever pitch, when they reach a critical point, that's when they circle and cycle the occupants around. And so they can never get embedded into a community for long enough for them to actually get arrested for a crime. That would be my assertion, and that would be my guess, if I'm to hazard a guess. And that way they can stop the community tensions get into fever pitch, and no one's none the wiser. Well, I'm calling that out here. You've heard it here first. My friend has had different people circled into the HMO that she lives next against on several occasions. Police have been to the property multiple occasions on a high rate, and they could have been waiting around schools. In fact, I know that a couple of them were accused of doing that, or other more serious crimes. Alright? Do not believe the official narrative. I think that all of these Labour and Lib Dem led councils are closing ranks because they know the tide is turning and they know that their time is up. Now, if you like this video and you support my MP and you support what she's trying to do, let me know. Comment below, like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video later on today.